Coming up on this week's episode, we review last week's Premier League action, plus a look into the new season, a review of how our clubs should shape up next season. Liam's got a quiz, and there's a Who Am I, so let's get started. Hello and welcome to the last in the series of View from the Sunderland podcast. It's Chris here and Liam's here. Hello Liam.
Hi Chris, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I guess you're still smiling like a Cheshire cat over there.
Oh, mate, I am delighted. We've had two very, very different seasons. I think you can wait for it to finish. And long may it continue for the Villa, I'm afraid.
I mean, I've got to hand it to Emery. Certainly, I mean, you can't even say that he really built a team, did he? Because you didn't really sign anyone of huge, in January. I mean, he just built with what he had, and what he had apparently could get you second in the league next year.
Yeah.
Based on form. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, very, very pleased. And I think we said it earlier in the season that when Gerrard got sacked, you sort of asked where we expected to be as Villa fans. And I said at the time, we were looking at Brighton and Brentford. We weren't expecting to get, top four or anything like that, but we're looking at teams that were doing really well and thinking, why couldn't that be us? And it turned out it could. Who thought?
And it could have gone one or two ways, really. It could have just continued getting worse, or he could have come in and made it better, which he did. So, fair play to him. And, you got, I guess for Villa fans, it's quite exciting, isn't it, next season?
Very exciting. There was a big celebration in Birmingham that we've got back into Europe for the first time in, I think, about 15 years, something like that, nearly 15 years. So, fans very excited, obviously looking forward to it, but a lot of work to do over the summer now, I think. Just hope it hasn't come unexpectedly and we can't prepare. But we'll go through that a little bit later on, a little bit of a hint coming up.
My weeknights will now be spent watching soaps. So, as I have nothing to watch on a weeknight anymore.
I tell you what, I bet Chuck Wamaker's feeling bad now, isn't he? I mean, he left Villa to further his career and potentially play European football, and look what's happened.
We'll see. I'm still hopeful, but we'll see. Okay. So obviously, it's been a week since the season finished. And we'll quickly go over, obviously the two teams that secured, the third and fourth place, which I don't think we actually disagreed on.
No.
Obviously, really, when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, we thought that Newcastle would probably only need one more win, which they got. And for Man United, I mean, they stuffed Chelsea 4-0, and that was it really. So, for them, obviously for Newcastle, I guess are the surprise package in that top four. Liverpool, they had a good start to the season, and the middle part of the season was where they let themselves down, and they just never recovered. I think they ended up winning like 9 or 10 games in a row, didn't they? And it still didn't turn out enough for them. So, but
too big a gap, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, and I think from
a high, but left too big a gap.
I think for Newcastle, I think it's huge for them. I think they would have even been happy with getting the Europa League, to be fair, at the start of the season. But to get the Champions League for them, that's massive. And I think, what was it? They were last in the Champions League in 2001, 2002, something like that. So huge for them. And obviously Man United getting the fourth place. So Champions League next year will be obviously City, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Man United. And for Newcastle again, they spent quite a bit of money, but you wouldn't say they spent a huge portion on sort of one player. built a squad that was quite evenly matched throughout all the positions, and I think that's probably what's helped them as well. And Eddie Howe's done, a brilliant job.
They should be really pleased. I think, we have seen this kind of thing happen before, where a lot of money's been put into a club, and I'm taking Man City as probably the biggest example of that happening.
Yeah.
Them, it took them quite a few years to work up towards Champions League football. So for Newcastle to have done it so quickly, obviously gives them a great platform. It's a good selling point for the club. It's going to attract players that, I know that money will attract players anyway, wherever they finish in the league, but to have Champions League football to back that up will just mean there's a different calibre of players that they can buy in summer. So looking very, very good for them. And to be honest, United as well, they've had a good season. I know they've been a little bit inconsistent, but it's the best season they've had for quite a while. I think the fans are still relatively behind Ten Hag. And again, with Champions League football, they'll be able to attract better players in summer and obviously have the name of Manchester United. It's always a draw again, no matter where they finish, but again, to have the competition to back it up. They will be able to spend a little bit bigger in summer transfer window. And I would expect him to spend maybe a bit more smarter than previous managers have done. So I think they could be a bit of a force next season. But
I think
it's a good season for Arsenal as well. I know they've obviously lost out on the league, but really, if they'd have said they've come second at the start of the season, I don't think any of us would have believed it, really.
No, they've been pretty steady pretty much throughout the whole season, haven't they? And I mean, they did have quite a big gap at one point, but you always felt that the games against Man City were their biggest games, and it was probably the ones where they let themselves down the most.
Mm-hmm.
And they never really recovered from that. But yeah, obviously they would have bitten the hand off to get second place at the start of the season. But I don't think they're not as talked about as much as what Newcastle are, purely on the basis that they pretty much qualified for the Champions League by about Christmas. So
yeah,
it was always looking that sort of way. And what Arteta's done there, he's sort of had 3 seasons now, and he's sort of he's gradually been adding players to his squad which he trusts, because he seems like the sort of manager that if he can get the best out of some players, if he trusts them. And he got rid of the players that he didn't trust. Like Aubameyang, I think that was the biggest one for him.
Yeah.
Where I assume for some reason Aubameyang didn't sort of respect him or respect what he was doing, and whatever, and they obviously loaned some of their other players as well, like Lokonga. Obviously he went out on loan. He was brought in. Obviously Arteta, I think, wants him to be part of that team, but it felt that he needed a bit more experience, so they obviously loaned him out. But yeah, they've had a brilliant season, to be fair, and I don't think they need that much work, Arsenal. Again, I think they probably need an out-and-out striker that's going to get them sort of 20, 25 goals. I still don't think they've got that.
Right.
I mean, there's one striker in Harry Kane that they could go for, but I don't think there's any chance of them ever signing him. So it's just them trying to find. They'll be able to attract bigger players now.
Yeah.
But I don't think he needs to change. I don't think he needs to drastically change that squad. I don't think. There's no need for that.
He's done very well with building a squad, like you say, and I know that there's some players that have come through that are exceptional talents, and I know that that's not all down to him. Like players like Saka are generational, so to get him to come through at such a young age and to have such a difference has obviously been a huge help. But he has used his academy. It looks like his attention to detail is working in a way that he's looking at the under 23 side or under 21 side, under 18s, and seeing what he's got coming through. He used Nwaneri, I think, this season.
Yeah.
Pronunciation probably isn't right, but he's not shied away from from giving those youngsters a chance in matchday squads, bringing them off the bench, giving them the odd start here and there. And it gives him a good platform for the future to say, if he trusts them, like you say, then they're ready to go. He doesn't necessarily need to go out and buy someone so soon.
No.
Like, he will go out and buy a striker. That does need immediately rectifying. But say, for example, Xhaka is obviously leaving in the summer. You mentioned Lokonga coming back in from loan. He's got players that can hopefully naturally take that step up rather than actually going out and spending a lot of money buying a replacement. So
yeah, I
we'll
mean,
see what happens. Saliba is another young player. Obviously, they bought him quite a while ago. He got loaned out. It didn't look like it was going to work out for him. But then this season, he was a big miss for them when he got injured. So him coming back in, and again, he's only 21, 22, something like that.
yeah,
He will be a big boost for them again next year if he can stay fit. So they're in a good place at the moment, and I would expect them to get a bit stronger over summer. Whether they can challenge City again next year, I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna, if they can keep up the sort of form that they had at the start of this season, if they can keep that going for a whole season, then obviously they'll be in with a great shout. But you could kind of see the mentality, and I think when they went into that second game against Man City, no one expected them to win. I certainly didn't. I wasn't surprised by the scoreline or the manner in the defeat or anything like that, because there's a fear. Even though City were behind, they still had games in hand. There looked like there was a fear for all the players that they were still going to come and overtake them. So I think if they can get that mentality out, then they'll be absolutely fine. But it takes a lot to do that.
So from top to bottom, and obviously as well as Southampton, it was Leeds and Leicester. I think Leeds probably had more work to do than any of the others on the last day of the season, but yeah, I mean, well, I guess from being a huge Leeds fan, I'm sure that you're absolutely gutted that they're going down, and I'm sure Aston Villa will be making Patrick Bamford their number one signing this season to please you.
I mean,
yeah,
couldn't have gone much better.
No, I was about to say.
Yeah, it's very pleasing end to the season, really. I don't like to rub it in when teams get relegated, but Leicester did it when we got relegated, so
yeah.
But no, like you say, Leeds had it all to do on the last day and showed no fight whatsoever, completely going against what I'd said a couple of weeks previously, that they were battling in games, and they always seemed to be, at least showing that they cared in games. They just disappeared against Spurs. It was not a great performance, not one that said they had any desire to stay up. So big changes have got to be coming there. Leicester, obviously, the opposite. They did win. They did show fight, and I think they have shown a little bit the last two games of the season. They clung on against Newcastle. A lot of criticism about the side that Dean Smith picked, but you've got a point out of it, which when you're second or third from bottom and you're playing second or third from top is a good result on any other day. So I think it was a bit unfair to criticize. And obviously winning the final game of the season, I think it gave them a chance, but they are going to have quite a tough job to rebuild for next year. Barnes looks like he's on his way out. I can't imagine Maddison will stay around. Tielemans is going on a free transfer. Those three alone are big players. So
it's pretty much the core of their team, isn't it? It's like where they were getting.
Yeah, and with, I don't know what the ramifications for them are going to be financially, but obviously Brendan Rodgers openly said that his hands were tied at the start of this season in terms of finances. He could only buy what he sold, essentially. There was no money in the pot, and obviously going down to the Championship means less TV revenue. So it's going to be interesting to see whether the money that they get for Barnes and Maddison, Tielemans going on a free, it'd be interesting to see whether they can reinvest that or whether that is going to sort of make up for the loss in TV rights and it's going to go back to the owners. yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But it'll be an interesting summer for Leicester. I think there's going to be a big overhaul. But like I said a couple of weeks ago, they've got the young players coming through. If Dewsbury Hall wants to stay, I think Chowdhury, I think, is still there, albeit out on loan, but I might be wrong there. But Justin and players like that have also been coming through recently. So if they stay, they might have a chance next season.
Yeah, I think for them, the key thing now is to find, obviously, because they're going to be, I assume they're going to be looking for a new manager. Dean Smith, is he still there, or was he only there to the end of the season?
I think he's still there at the moment, but I imagine they will be looking for a new manager. Yeah,
because I saw they were linked with Graham Potter, but it's whether he would take that step down. I'm not too sure, but like you said, I agree. I think obviously Rodgers at the start of the season said that the money wasn't there, so you got to think that they're going to have to sell to buy. But even then, sort of, they're going to have to attract sort of the best Championship players that they can in order to come back up. I think out of the three teams that are going down, I think they'll be the ones that might not make it back up.
Yeah.
I think Leeds have probably got the investment, and to be fair, I don't think they're going to lose that many players. I think the majority will probably stay for another year, see if they can get back up. And if they don't, then they'll probably leave them. And again, with Southampton, I think they've got such a young squad anyway. I think that they're probably set out all right for the Championship to come straight back up. But I mean, Leicester's a big team to go down. When you think of what they've sort of accomplished in sort of the last sort of 7-8 years. I mean, winning the Premier League alone. I mean, it still stands up there as probably one of the most shocking title wins I think that we've probably ever had in England.
Certainly think it's the strongest squad that have ever been relegated. I mean, I'm just looking at them now. I think Johnny Evans is going to leave. We've mentioned Barnes and Maddison. I think Albrighton's contract's up. Ian Acho, I forgot about him. He probably won't hang around too much. Castagna, I imagine there'll be bids for him. Ricardo Pereira, and Ndidi as well. They're all players that, in theory, I could see as Premier League players.
I just think selling too many. I think that's where it's going to be their downfall. But like you said, I think the two. They're stuck, really. They're stuck in a situation where they're going to have to sell to buy people to try and compete, but it means they're going to probably have to sell their two best players. And I think Maddison was linked with Newcastle, I think, in January.
Yeah.
I think the fee was around about 40 million. I think someone can probably pick him up now for about 25, 30.
Yeah.
I think the price probably drops because Leicester will be, I think people are aware that they're going to need the money. So they probably will, they'll get low ball offers, but doesn't necessarily mean they have to accept, but they're going to have to look at contract situations, and things like that. And I think that they'll probably get more for Barnes than what they would for, Maddison. I just got a feeling that they'd be able to get sort of 30, 35 for him. But he was linked with, Villa, wasn't he?
He is strongly linked with Villa. I think they were talking about earlier today.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Maddison and Barnes, I think you'll be seeing them in the Premier League next season, and I'd say they'll be in one of the bigger teams in the Premier League as well. I think Maddison's a hugely gifted player, isn't he? I mean, it just hasn't worked for him this season, and for one thing or another. But yeah, I mean, their time has come, hasn't it? So they're down, and I'm sure their fans will stick behind them, and and they'll give it a good go this season, next season, sorry. So, yeah. But yeah, that was sort of last week. So just quickly, Liam, I've got a few questions for you off the spot about sort of next season.
Ooh.
And do you think Luton can survive next season?
Oh, tricky. We're going to make these predictions already. I'm going to run through the predictions actually that we made at the start of last season in the second half. Yes, I think they can. I think Luton will stay up. I think their home form will be enough. I think they'll be difficult to play against at Kenilworth Road, and I can see them having a strong home form and staying in the league.
Have I read somewhere that they might not be playing at that place next season?
Is that right?
I swear that I read something end of last week saying that they might move to do a share with MK Dons. I don't know if that's true or whether that's just a rumour. But apparently they might have to ground share with another team. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Ooh.
Yeah, not sure.
Okay, if they do play at a different stadium, then I think they might struggle.
I really want them to do well. But do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Blackpool.
Yeah, it does a little bit.
I've got same vibes as Blackpool. And when they came up, I mean, they gave it a good fair go, but they just didn't have the squad for it in the end. And they didn't have the money. And I think even though they've gone up, they'll get a huge amount of money for TV, but it's how much can you sort of put that into the squad.
Yeah.
And I just can't see them attracting the type of players that they're probably going to need to stay up. I think no matter where they play, I think they'll go down, and I think they'll finish bottom. So, but that was sort of the only question that I had.
Interesting.
It just sprung to mind, but yeah, we are going to go through. God, I can't even remember what I said.
Don't worry, I've got them all written down.
Oh God, this is not going to be good listening. Yeah, that's it for part 1. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode. And we are going to go into our predictions that we made at the start of the season, and I think it might be painful. I cannot remember, but go on then. What did we say?
It's not as bad, I think, as you remember it. I just the first one was who's going to win the title. We both got that absolutely spot on. Manchester City for both of us. Okay. So big points there. You have got a few more right. But what I'm going to because I've made some predictions earlier this season that I can't remember when everything happened. So for example, the second one was who's the first manager getting sacked? We've both gone Jesse Marsh. Now he did get sacked, but I can't remember when. So at least we were right on that one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he was the first manager to get sacked. Can't quite remember that far back. So we're going to ones that I do know. So who will go down? We couldn't say any promoted championship side. So can you remember who you went for as your tip to go down?
Southampton.
That was me. I went for Southampton. You went for Brentford. Not good, Chris. Not good. We had a cracking season. Who will be the surprise package? Now this is interesting. You technically got this right, but for the wrong reasons. So, you remember who you put for the surprise?
I have no idea.
You put Spurs.
Right.
You're right because they've been so bad, I think. And I went for Aston Villa, and I think Yeah, that's
Probably
sort
you
of
more than me, I think, on that one.
Who will be the top goal scorer? You remember who you went for?
I would hope I went for Haaland.
You did. You went for Erling Haaland, and I went for Mo Salah. Obviously, two very obvious guesses, but yes, you were right. You won on that one. Some curveball questions. How will Yeovil get on?
Oh dear.
Now, we were both relatively positive about their season, and we drastically overestimated their finishing position. So I went for 9th. And do you know where you had them to end up, Chris?
12th? 11th?
13th. Close enough.
Oh, it was close, yeah.
We both went for mid-table. And yeah, obviously, the less
Totally wrong.
the less said about that, the better. So, will Bristol Rovers survive in League One? You went for no. I went for yes. Did they survive in League One, Chris?
I actually can't even remember.
They
Probably did.
They were 17th. They were 17th. They ended up 8 points clear of relegation. So another point to Liam on that. Next one, will Rotherham not be promoted or relegated for the first time in 7 years? Now,
Well,
you promoted. No, sorry, you said relegated, and I said they would stay up. Can we remember what happened to Rotherham?
they stayed up.
They did stay up. Yes,
Yeah.
they did. They were 6 points clear of relegation, so another point for me on that one. But I'm not keeping track of any points. Will John Terry finally give up on NFTs? Do you remember NFTs, Chris? It seems like such a
Well, yeah, it was a long time ago now.
Yeah. We both said never, but I haven't seen him mention them for quite a while.
I don't think I've heard anyone mention the word NFT for a while.
No, I'm, solely keeping it alive. Final prediction was just to give me your wildest prediction for next season. Can you remember your wild prediction, Chris?
I can't remember, not a chance.
It was that Newcastle will finish lower than 12th.
Oh, right, okay, right, can we...
We'll scrap that from the record.
What did you say?
My prediction, can you remember my prediction, Chris?
Oh, what did you say?
It was Leicester to finish 15th or below.
Well, you got that one right.
I've nailed that one as well. Good predictions this year. I think I should probably start opening up a betting account or something next season if I'm on that kind of form. But obviously gambling is not good, so I'm not going to do that. They were the predictions pre-season. We'll have more for next season, but I think we'll wait for a transfer window to start and see some teams building up their squads before we start.
We need to see who's ins and outs first, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so we're going to do something a bit different now. Now we've each, I believe, well hopefully, got a list of each other's teams. So obviously I've got Aston Villa for Liam's got Chelsea for me, and a list of their registered players.
Yeah.
And we're going to go through them, and then Liam is going to tell me whether he thinks they should be kept or sold or whatever he wants to do with them.
Yeah.
So I'll go through your list first. So these are, I assume they're the 25, 28 registered players or whatever it is they have on the team at the moment. Now some of these could be going out of contract. I don't actually know, but you might know. So we'll go with your vice captain first, Emi Martinez.
Keep all day long. Best keeper in the world. Happy to have him at Aston Villa.
Matty Cash.
Oh, it's already getting a little bit tricky because I think he's probably going to be the one who gets replaced. I think we could do with another right back. So I like him, but I'm going to say sell.
Diego Carlos.
Tricky because he's been injured. I'm going to give him another season and say keep.
Ezri Konsa.
Absolutely keep. Villa fans love him.
Tyrone Mings.
No way is Tyrone Mings ever playing for another club. He's Villa through and through. Keep.
Douglas Luiz.
Form, well, he won our Player of the Year, so absolutely keep. His form has been flying since Emery came in, and he's a new player.
Captain John McGinn.
I don't know a Villa fan that doesn't love him. Absolutely keep.
Next one is Bertrand Traore.
Getting a little bit more tricky because I think all Villa fans love him for some really important goals over the last couple of years, especially the one against Leicester this season. But I don't think Emery wants to play with wingers. I am going to go sell.
Ollie Watkins.
Well, he's just been flying under Emery. I think it would be a shame to bring in another striker to overtake him. So I'm going to say keep.
Jed Steer.
He is out of contract, I believe. He's just come up to 10 years at the club. And again, some amazing moments because he won the penalty shootout to get us into the playoff final. So I would love to keep him, but it looks like he's going to be leaving.
Alex Moreno.
Only just signed. Been great since he joined. Unlucky to get injured. I think he's going to be out until sort of partway through next season, but keep him.
Cullen Chambers.
I think he's run his course, so I'm going to say sell. He's not had much game time recently, so hopefully we can get a couple of million for him. But yeah, I'm going to sell.
I'm assuming this one's probably a contract one. Ashley Young?
He's been let go, but I think, a lot of Villa fans were quite disappointed to see him go. I'd like to keep him as a coach or maybe like something to do with the youth team or something like that. But yeah, he's not going to be playing for his next season, I don't think.
Okay, this one I've not heard of before. John Duran?
Yeah, he signed in January. He's only young.
Right.
Made a handful of sub appearances, but not really done much. I think, rather than keep or sell, can I loan him out?
You can loan him out if you want.
I'm going to say loan him out because I think he's got a future, but yeah, needs a bit of game time.
Philippe Coutinho.
Difficult because we all know what kind of player he can be, and he's struggled a bit with injuries. I would like to give him another year just to see if Emery can get the best out of him. He's obviously been out injured while Emery's been here, so I will say keep.
Robin Olsen.
Definitely get rid. He's not done particularly well when he's played for us, unfortunately. So
I was thinking about that one. Lucas Digne.
Interesting because I don't think he'll be happy playing back up to Moreno, but now Moreno's injured, I think keep. But if Moreno was fit, then I would say he'd probably want to leave.
Leon Bailey.
Yeah, he's just not quite done it since he's joined. I think we're all excited by him when we signed him, but I think he doesn't really fit Emery's system, although he has had quite a bit of game time, but I think sell.
Dendoncker.
Probably sell. He's just not been great. He's not had much game time, to be fair, but yeah, I don't think he's an Emery type player, so I think get rid of him.
How many goalkeepers you got signed as another goalkeeper? Oh god, this one's not going to be good. Vajami Sinisalo.
Yeah, I think he's only
he
about.
Must be young because I've never even heard of him.
He's been on the bench a couple of times. He went out on loan, and then I think we bought him back early this season. But yeah, I'd keep him. Give him a bit more time.
Just realised I missed one out. Buendia.
Tricky with Buendia. I will say keep. I think it's going to be a choice between Buendia or Coutinho, though. So I would like to keep them both, but I think, one or the other is going to leave.
Jacob Ramsey.
Keep him, 100%. Villa through and through. He's better than Jack Grealish.
Boubacar Kamara.
He's been great this season. One of our better players, 100% keep.
Okay. Morgan Sanson.
Always. I think he's been out on loan. I don't really know well done, but I think he knows his time's up. So
these next few are the ones who are registered for you, but they are out on loan.
Okay, cool.
So he's at Strasbourg at the moment, says it.
Yeah.
Your favourite, Wesley.
Our big Wes, I think, again, Villa fans will always have a bit of a soft spot for him. He wasn't lucky with injuries, but yeah, his time's come. I think I'd sell.
Okay, we've got 2 left. Marvellous.
Well, yes. Obviously got Luton promoted, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Difficult, because again, he's put in some really good performances, but
Loan him back out, maybe?
I think he's just too old to be loaned out, so I think he's going to want to leave permanently, personally, and I think if we could get somewhere around 10 million for him, or near what we paid for him, then we'll have got our money's worth from
Maybe
him.
Luton will buy him, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they will. Yeah, he's done well for them, so why not?
Last one is Courtney House.
I forgot he was a Villa
He
player.
is. He's at Watford at the moment. He's coming back, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that says it all. I think, I forgot that he would be coming back, to be fair. But, scored a goal at Old Trafford for us, so we'll always fondly remember him. But, yeah, I think he's going to need to leave to get first team football.
That's it. That's your squad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not as big as yours.
No, I was about to say, we probably should.
I'm not going to, surprisingly, I'm not going to go through your loan players.
I'll try.
We'll see if we.
I'll be quick. I'll be quick with them.
Okay.
I'm
right.
Be ruthless.
I'm going to see if I can go in position order, because that's how I got it.
Oh, go for it, yeah.
So, Kepa.
Wouldn't have said this at the start of the season, but keep.
Interesting. Thought that was definitely going to be a get rid.
Well, he did get a save of the season, so got to keep him now.
Marcus Bettinelli.
Keep.
Keeping Marcus Bettinelli.
Yeah.
You've got quite a few keepers as well. Edouard Mendy.
Bell.
Out. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Too many mistakes this season. Clearly not favoured at the moment either, so you might as well just sell him. I think he, from what I've heard, he might be part of a deal to bring Anana in, so potentially. So
interesting. Final goalkeeper, Gabriel Slanina.
Yeah, no, keep. He's playing in the under-20 World Cup at the moment for USA. Conceded his first goal last night in 5 games as well. So no, keep it. He's one for the future. He's a future one.
You do have 3 of the goalkeepers on the books under contract. They are Nathan Baxter, Jamie Cumming, and Teddy Sharman Lowe.
Loan.
Fair enough. Right, on to defenders.
Yeah.
Benoit Badiashile.
Yeah, keep.
He's only a recent signing.
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of these are going to be sort of they bought in January, so they'll have to keep.
Yeah, that massive January spending spree that went up. I know the answer to this one. Number 6, Thiago Silva.
Keep.
Absolutely right.
You want the clock back 20 years on him and then keep for another 20 years.
He's still a defender, isn't he?
Say that he's our best defender at 38.
Yeah.
It says something. So.
Yeah. Trevor Chalobah.
Loan. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know how old he is. I can't click on him.
21, 22.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So he has got a bit of time.
Still young, yeah.
Ben Chilwell next.
Keep.
Thought so. And I'm guessing the same for Reece James.
Keep, yeah.
Kalidou Koulibaly. Tricky.
Keep.
Well, he's had his critics this year. Cesar Azpilicueta, we obviously know, but
he's still got a year left, but the way that on the last game, it looked like he was going. So sell.
Cucurella.
Oh, so torn with this guy.
If it helps,
so many mistakes.
Yeah. He has been awful for you this season.
I can't see that. I'd look at the option to sell, but I think that because he's only been there a year, we'll have to keep.
Wesley Fofana.
Yeah, keep.
Absolutely. You do have Alfie Gilchrist on your players under contract.
Yeah, he was actually he was sub for the last few games, but yeah, keep or loan, don't matter.
So your other defenders under contract, I'm just going to reel them all off. I know you're going to highlight one to sell and the others to loan out. So Henry Lawrence, Ian Matson, Sam McClelland, and Baba Rahman.
Well, Baba Rahman, he's still there.
He's still there.
He must be out of contract, so I'd let him go. And that Matson,
he's done well at Burnley.
I think I've heard that. I think they're negotiating with Burnley for a sell on that one. So,
and you've obviously got some actually good defenders out on loan. Ethan Ampadu.
Yeah, I thought that they were going to keep him this season. He's been on loan in Italy, hasn't he? So,
yeah. Levi.
Who's that? Sorry.
Levi Colwill.
Oh yeah, he's been at Brighton, and I think they'll sell him.
Malo Gusto.
Yeah, they signed him in January, loaned him back to Lyon, I think.
And Bashir Humphreys, who I've not heard
of. He's supposed to be quite good, but he'll probably go back out on loan. So yeah.
Your final defender out on loan is Malang Sarr.
Sell
Malang Sarr. Interesting. Okay. Now for the big one, midfielders. You've got a lot of them, so strap in. The first one, Enzo Fernandez.
Keep.
N'Golo Kante.
Keep.
I have to think about that one then.
Yeah, I haven't really he hasn't really played at all this year. We've missed him, so yeah, I'll keep.
Yeah, it's been a big loss. Mateo Kovacic.
This is a weird one because I think when he plays, I think he plays quite well for us, but I think they're keen to sell, and I think if the price is right, sell.
Christian Pulisic.
Sell.
Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
I would have said sell. It looks like he's going. Again, he was another one at the end of the game on last Sunday where it looked like he'd probably been already told that he'd be sold. So
yeah, I think it's been quite a long time. He's just been loaned out so many times, hasn't he?
Yeah, injuries have just affected him.
Yeah.
So he was so good before he got that real bad injury. I remember him playing for England.
Yeah,
he looked like he was going to be part of that team in the future, and then he got injured and then just didn't recover.
Your next one, Mason Mount.
Interesting.
Not this season, has he?
No, and from what I'm hearing, he's not going to sign a new contract. So I would sell because they could still get some decent money for him.
Yeah. I think I've seen a lot of teams interested. So.
Pains me to say it, but I don't think he'll stay.
Next one, Hakim Ziyech.
He was pretty much sold in January, but it didn't go through to sell.
Conor Gallagher.
I'll keep.
Yeah, he's obviously shown real.
He's been since Lampard's been there. He's been one of very few that have actually fought pretty hard. To be fair.
Fair enough. A good keep for next year. Kai Havertz next.
Keep.
And then your £100,000 a week man, Carney Chukwuemeka.
Yeah, keep.
He
went through fits and starts to the team. I mean,
yeah, he'll come good. He will.
He got a good run under Potter, and then sort of after Christmas it just fell off for some reason. And then sort of when Lampard came back in, he started like 2-3 games in a row, and I think he's really good. I think on the ball he's so good.
Yeah.
And he's deceivingly really quick as well.
Yeah, he's a good size as well for a midfielder. Like
he just reminds me. I've said this before, but he just reminds me of Pogba. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just the playing style just reminds me of Pogba.
Yeah. Getting towards the sort of tail end of the midfielders now. Amari Hutchinson is next.
Keep or loan.
And finally, Lewis Hall.
Keep. Yeah.
He's played some like a good couple of games recently, hasn't he? So
He's been playing at left wing back, but he is actually a midfielder.
yeah. Other players under contract are Tino Angerin and Cesare Casadei.
Yeah, so Angerin, I think they'll probably sell or let him go. That Italian guy you just saw, Casade or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
I think he's playing in the Under-20 World Cup as well. But he is one for the future, from what I'm hearing. So keep.
You've also got two midfielders out on loan. Tiemu Bakayoko is still a Chelsea player.
God's sake. So.
And I think you bought him in January, Andre Santos.
Yeah, keep. He's another one. I think half this squad are playing at the Under-20 World Cup at the moment.
He's meant to be a real talent. I've heard really.
Yeah, no, he is. He has scored quite a few goals for Brazil as well. So they'll probably loan him out, I would have thought, next season.
Interesting. Right. Forwards now. You have got quite a few because it includes wingers.
Say, none of them are actually bloody strikers.
I know, none of them are. Aubameyang is though. What are you doing with him?
So,
So,
I think if they can't sell him, they'll let him go.
Yeah. It looks like João Felix is going back to Atletico Madrid, but if you
they've said it's not going to happen. So yeah, no, send him back.
Send him back. Mikhailo Mudryk.
Keep.
Too expensive to get rid of. Raheem Sterling.
Keep.
Next is the man who I thought might get a go this season, but for some reason hasn't, Armando Broga.
He's been injured.
Oh, has he? Fair enough.
Yeah, he broke his ankle or something. I'll keep him. Just don't got strikers if we have to.
Yeah. Next forward, David Datro Fofana.
Yeah, he's young Keep.
Young. Noni Madueke.
Keep. I thought he's been better than Mudryk actually.
Yeah, he has played well the last couple of games. He scored his first goal, didn't he, quite recently? So
yeah, he did.
But that is your forwards. You have none other under contract, but you do have two out on loan. So we might as well end it with these two.
Small one out on loan.
Yeah, we'll finish with him. First of all, what are you doing with Hudson Odoi?
I think he'll go. I think we've brought in too many players that play in his position.
Yeah.
I just don't think he'll get back into the squad. I think he'll either go back to Leverkusen where he's been out on loan for good, or he'll find somewhere in the Premier League.
Yeah. I was just looking at how he's done at Leverkusen. It's 14 games and no goals, so maybe he's been injured or something, but
No, I think if they can get something for him, sell him.
Someone could pick up a good player there, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. It's just an overcrowded position for us.
And finally, the big man himself. What are you doing with Lukaku?
This is a strange one. I think if we buy another striker, he will have to go. I can't see him wanting to be a backup for someone that Pochettino wants to bring in. I'm seeing Lautaro Martinez's name be mentioned. So yeah, it's really going to depend on their thoughts. Personally, it's a tough one because we ain't going to get the money that we paid for him.
No, not a chance.
So, I mean, we paid something like 90 odd million for him. If someone came in and said 60, I would say take. And I would go as low as if someone said 50, I would take it. Anything less, I would keep him. And just find something for him to do. Because he can score. That's the thing. Like, in situations this season where the build-up, we've built up so well, we've just not had someone to actually finish.
Yeah.
The amount of chances he could have had, and whether he would have taken them or not, we won't know. But I just thought this season we've just missed that clinical sort of striker.
Yeah.
And someone in that team could have had a field day playing up front for us, because they would have scored at least 15 goals in the Premier League this season. But
yeah, I mean, you mentioned bringing a striker in, and I'm looking at Lukaku's stats. Stats-wise, he is the person that you're looking for.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Every season he's played over 30 games, he's scored double figures. Even what is considered a bad season, he got 15 goals for you last year. This season, arguably, I think, people have taken a bit more notice and he's had a bit less criticism. He's only got 13 goals for Inter Milan this season.
Yeah, and he was injured for 2 months of that as well. So
he has played a bit less than he did for Chelsea, but it's only 9 games less than he.
Yeah, it's a tough one, because it's whether Pochettino can trust him to score goals, and whether he can trust the attitude. The thing is, we're going to have to spend a considerable amount of money to bring in a decent striker. You're looking at least 50, 60 million on a striker, when you've paid 90 million for a striker only 2-3 seasons ago, who has proven that he can score goals. So it seems silly that we're even considering the fact that he might not even be first choice when, like you said, when you look at his record, it's really not that bad.
No, not at all. For United, and that's
Pochettino's surely going to have a list of players that he would like. I mean, Harry Kane's probably at the top of that list, but I think I mentioned it to you earlier, and since then, all I've been hearing is Real Madrid are going to sign him or whatever. But I just got a feeling that he won't go abroad. He'll either run his contract out and then move to another Premier League team, or they'll sell him to another Premier League team. But you're going to be paying at least 90 million, I think, for him.
Yeah.
When you could potentially get him on a free if you wait another year. I mean, he's 29.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of money for a 29-year-old, but then you're paying for a 29-year-old that can score 20 plus goals a season. So I don't know. I mean, if he went out to Real Madrid, he'd probably have a field day over there, to be fair. I mean, he's scoring for fun, but I can't see Chelsea paying the money that they'd want for him. And I just, although we've got Pochettino, I still don't think that would be enough for him to leave Tottenham. I think he probably feels that he doesn't owe them anything.
No, not at all.
But I think he wants, the Tottenham fans to understand that, he can't keep going on without winning a trophy. He needs to win something by the time he retires. And there's other teams out there that he can go to that he can do that within a season. He could do that. So, I mean, he's just got to look at Steven Gerrard and just think, Gerrard never won that Premier League title.
Yeah.
Does he want to not? It's probably different for him as well, because Gerrard won Champions League, he won FA Cup, he won Carabao Cup. But Harry Kane's literally won nothing at Tottenham. So
he's going to want something.
There's going to be serious conversations had, and Levy will probably say, if a team, if Real Madrid come in 80 million, we'll sell you. But he's probably also saying, if you want to move within the Premier League, you're going to have to add on 10, 20 million to that asking price, because there's no way that we're going to sell you, to another Premier League club without it being sort of triple figures.
Yeah.
That would be my sort of understanding of the situation. I don't think that the last thing Levy wants is to sell him to a rival.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably a figure in his mind that he would do it because he knows that in 12 months' time, Harry Kane can just leave for nothing.
Yeah.
And Kane probably doesn't want it to come to that. He's probably thinking that he wants to leave on his own terms, and if he wants to leave this season, he wants to leave. I think Spurs have been spoiled with the amount of goals he has scored, and to think how many goals he has scored, and they've not won anything. It's absurd, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. He is probably going to end up the Premier League all-time goal scorer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He keeps going, obviously, at this rate.
Honestly, I don't think Haaland will catch him.
No,
I don't think Haaland will stay.
No, he won't.
I think Haaland will stay 2-3 seasons at City maximum, and he'll want to go and conquer another league.
Yeah, want to go to Spain. Madrid or Barcelona.
Yeah, he won't have that longevity that Kane, will have. So, that's my opinion. I don't think I think if, the thing is, it's not going to be Man City either. So, if he wants to go to the Premier League, but he doesn't want to come to London, it will have to be Man United.
Yeah.
So, I think if he does go in the Premier League, it will be Man United, and if he does go abroad, it will be Real Madrid. Yeah. But Real Madrid want to sign Bellingham as well, so that's a lot of money. But I see they let Hazard go, didn't they? And I mean they let Benzema go as well. So I don't think they let Benzema go. I think he's probably told them that he's had enough and he wants to go.
Yeah.
And I think that Marco Asensio is joining PSG that I saw. So they are sort of probably gaining wages from letting Benzema, Hazard go. I would have thought they're getting a fair chunk, but interested to see where Hazard goes from now.
Yeah, and Villa were apparently in the running for Asensio. Obviously, as soon as PSG came in, that all disappeared. But he was rumored. I think he made contact, and we had a deal agreed with Madrid. Obviously, not with him. And then, he's gone to PSG. So, will be interesting. It's nice to know that we're aiming high. Put it that way. So, I'm ahead.
Okay. Quiz.
Yes, let's do it.
Last quiz of the series.
Well, along that theme, I thought last quiz of the series. So this quiz is going to be about legendary last day drama, as we've just a relatively dramatic final day in the Premier League. So 10 questions. I expect you to do pretty well. I've got to be honest on this one. It's not the most difficult quiz I've put together, but we shall see. Question number 1. On the final day of the 2005 season, West Brom secured a miraculous survival by beating Portsmouth 2-0 at Hawthorns. Can you name either goal scorer that day?
2005.
It was the Christmas miracle where they were the first team, bottom at Christmas, who survived relegation.
A Christmas miracle. I do like a Christmas miracle.
We all love a Christmas miracle.
I mean... West Brom 2005.
This is probably one of the more difficult questions, I think.
The only player that I can remember was Zoltan Gera, but it's probably not him, but I'll go with him. I can't remember.
It was not Zoltan Gera. You could have had either Jeff Horsfield or Kieran Richardson. Kieran Richardson scoring the second goal that day.
That must have been after he played for Man United. Because he played for Man United, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he was on loan at them. From United at that point. They scored the goals to keep them in the Premier League. Question number 2, you'll love this one. Spurs missed out on a Champions League spot in 2007 by losing 2-1 at West Ham. What food did they blame this defeat on?
What food? Now, I vaguely remember, didn't half the team come down with food poisoning or something?
It did indeed.
Mystery food. What food could it have been? Oh, blimey. I can I have no idea. Fish. I don't know.
Oh no, it was a dodgy lasagna.
Dodgy. How do you get
I don't know. They insisted.
dodgy lasagna? How can you not? Oh, whatever.
I don't know. They insisted that the lasagna had given them all food poisoning, and to this day, you can, if you want to, I think, buy a dodgy lasagna on Football Manager, and it makes the other team ill. Apparently, that's if you want to play the game that way. Obviously, we play it properly. I thought you would get that, to be honest, but
I could not remember.
Just because it was Spurs and it was funny. But never mind. On to question number 3. Sergio Aguero scored what is probably the most famous late winner to give Man City the title in 2012. But who did Manchester United beat that day that made them think they'd won the title?
Oh, I think I know this one.
I tell you what. I'll give you.
It was Sunderland.
It was Sunderland, and I'll give you a bonus point if you can tell me what the score was.
1-0.
It was Sunderland. It was 1-0. Correct. 2 points. You're back in the game. Question number 4. In 2008, Middlesbrough thrashed Manchester City in the final game of the season. What was the score that day?
It was 6-0.
Close. It was 8-1.
8-1.
Yes, it was 8-1 indeed. I think someone got sent off for Man City. I think it was Richard Dunn or something. And then, yeah, Middlesbrough beat them 8-1. Obviously, that was before all the money came in. Question number 5. Yeah, I just lost where we were for a minute. In 2011, the winners of the League Cup, Birmingham City, were relegated after losing 2-1 to a last-minute goal from which Spurs striker? You do have options for this.
Oh, right.
So is it A, Roman Pavlyuchenko, B, Louis Saha, or C, Mido?
Last minute goal. So it's Pavlyuchenko,
Saha.
Mido, or Saha.
And this is in 2011.
So 2011 would have been sort of Crouch and Defoe. I don't think Louis Saha was that. I think it's the Russian guy, Pavlyuchenko.
Correct. It is indeed Roman Pavlyuchenko in one of his few goals for Spurs on that day that relegated Birmingham in the last minute, hence including that in this quiz. Question number 6. In Sir Alex Ferguson's final ever game, Manchester United drew 5-5 with West Bromwich Albion. Which striker scored a hat-trick that day?
I know this one. We've literally just spoken about him.
We have indeed, yes.
Yeah, Lukaku.
It was indeed Romelu Lukaku. With a hat-trick for West Brom. Question number 7. Steven Gerrard's last ever game for Liverpool ended in a 6-1 defeat to which team?
Oh, Stoke.
It was indeed Stoke City.
Yeah, I remember that one as well.
I know. I included that one because I saw an interview, I think it was with Ryan Shawcross recently, who said that they spent the entire half time just laughing in their changing room, which I thought was quite mean. But yeah, there you go. Question number 8. In 2007, Carlos Tevez saved West Ham at Old Trafford by scoring the only goal of the game. Which team subsequently were awarded £20 million in compensation due to the third-party ownership of Tevez and Mascherano?
Sheffield United?
Correct, it was indeed Sheffield United, who successfully sued to get £20 million. I think they'd probably have rather stayed in the Premier League.
But staying in the Premier League worth probably about 10 times more than that.
Yeah, it would have been, but yeah, they got £20 million due to that. Question number 9. This one's quite a little bit of a difficult one, but if you know it, it's quite funny. In 1996, which team thought they were safe and proceeded to take the ball into the corner flag only to find out they'd been given false information about scores in other games? If you haven't heard of this before, by the way, it's definitely worth a Google because there's video footage of it. And yeah, it's just quite funny.
I think I've
Frank or sorry.
I think I've seen this before, and I think subsequently I've seen this story because it was on when I was doing a quiz and I was putting some questions together, and I think I saw this one. I think, is it Manchester City?
It is Manchester City, yes. And the footage is quite funny of Niall Quinn just going absolutely ballistic on the sideline when they realised they'd got the wrong score and they had to...
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, subsequently went down.
Did you see the story about in Germany? Something similar happened this season where the fans ran on the pitch and then the team that they were... I think it was Heidenheim scored in the last, in the dying seconds of injury time.
Yeah.
And it meant, it was Hamburg, wasn't it? It meant that they have to go into a playoff to go up.
Yeah. Which they have subsequently lost, by the way.
Yeah.
I
mean,
very disappointing.
That's a tragedy at its finest.
A kick in the teeth. Final question for you. Question number 10. In the year 2000, which team did Bradford beat 1-0 to secure survival in the Premier League on the final day of the season?
Oh, this is just going to be a guess. Leeds.
I thought you were going to go with it then. It's Liverpool.
Oh, it's close.
You got the L bit right. So, yeah, not too bad. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of, I'm going to say 7 out of 10 because I gave you a point.
Yeah, why not?
Not bad going there.
Cool. Right, who am I? That's not like I'm asking who.
Every week I just want to go your crest, but I control myself.
You control yourself. Now, there it is. I was trying to find it. I've got it written down somewhere. So, it's a short one, but I think you'll probably get it. Retired, by the way. I forgot to say retired. Okay. So, started at Newell Old Boys.
Right.
Then moved to Espanyol. Then moved to PSG.
Right.
And then from PSG went to Bordeaux. And then retired at Espanyol.
Ooh, this is tricky. So, Argentinian who went to Espanyol and then PSG and then Bordeaux and then back to Espanyol.
Yes.
Okay. Argentinians for PSG, that's got to be the big clue because there haven't been too many. Obviously it's not Messi. Obviously it's not Di Maria. And other than that, I'm struggling. Lavezzi, but no, it's not him. Other than that, I'm struggling with Argentinians that play for PSG. And Espanyol as well. Espanyol's an odd Spanish team to sort of bookend spells.
Yeah. I can give you clues.
I think I'm going to need a clue. Yeah.
Okay. The one clue, I've got 3 or 4 for you, but the first clue is of the 4 teams that I listed, he's managed 2 of them.
4 teams.
Because obviously he's at Espanyol twice.
Okay. I think I've been thinking of the wrong time period. I was thinking fairly recent, but I think it was probably about 20 years ago that he was at PSG.
He left PSG in 2003.
So spot on 20 years ago. So I think it is the new Chelsea manager, Maurizio Pochettino.
Correct. Yeah. So he actually played. He actually was at Espanyol 3 times. So when he was at Bordeaux, they loaned him out second season, and then halfway through the season, he actually ended up signing for Espanyol again. So he actually played nearly 300 games for Espanyol.
Blimey. He'd like his time there then.
He played 153 games for Newell Old Boys. He was there for 5 seasons. And he was at PSG for 2 seasons. And yeah, he was in the Argentina squad.
He was. He played quite. Oh, he didn't play for Argentina as much as I thought he did. I thought he was over sort of 50 caps, but he only played 20. But yeah, I was thinking that PSG, as in, played for them since the money had come in. I didn't think it was, back early noughties. So that threw me. If I'd been thinking of a different time period, I might have.
Well, he was chosen as part of the 2002 World Cup squad, and the manager was Bielsa at the time.
Oh, didn't he give away the penalty that Beckham scored?
He did, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
It says Pochettino's most newsworthy highlight from the competition was when he brought down Michael Owen inside the box and David Beckham came.
Nice. That's not, if that's your highlight to a competition, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really, not really the best, but yeah, no, Bielsa was the manager at that World Cup, so he picked him. He was at PSG at the time, so, Pochettino, if you didn't know, he's also the Soccer Aid manager, one of the Soccer Aid managers
Oh, no, I didn't.
Coming up. Yeah, so, he's doing that. I think Harry Redknapp's the other manager, so he's doing the rest of the world. So maybe he's going to scout some players for us that might play for cheap.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Yeah, interesting. No, I forgot. You do forget when a manager's really successful that they probably did have a playing career at some point.
Yeah, he had a huge, considering sort of 2006 he retired. He was, about 18 years he was about for.
Yeah.
He didn't get into management straight away. He did manage Espanyol 3 years later after he retired. And that was his first job.
Yeah.
And that's when he got picked up by Southampton.
Interesting. Yeah, because he's obviously known for being a great manager these days. You kind of forget that he did have a pretty decent career.
It looks like he was pretty solid.
Yeah.
I mean, he scored quite a few goals as well. So
not bad for a centre back.
Yeah. Right. Anything else, Liam?
No, just bring on the new season. Let's look forward to Thursday nights. Can't wait.
Yeah.
What day of the week are you playing on, Chris?
Saturdays. 3 o'clock.
No, just the Saturdays. Cool.
Just Saturday at 3 o'clock. It might be picked occasionally on TV. You never know. Who knows?
Don't tend to pick mid-table teams, I'm afraid, mate. It's pretty boring.
Less and less, next season. Probably good for me to get out and about. Anyway, so that's it for this season. And I guess we'll be back in August, for the new season.
Yeah.
Maybe a few weeks before the new season starts so we can get some predictions together and all that jazz. So yeah, we'll see you then.